Oh my goodness, friends, I just got in from the grow room and I've got some exciting things to show you out there. We also need to go out there and start some seeds today. But before we do that, we are gonna get this oven preheating. We're gonna make an apple cake. Not only are we gonna be making apple cake and spend time in the garden, we also need to do we need to love our home today. There are some projects, the floors, the laundry room is a disaster. It's been snowing here for the last 6 days, and I have been working on other more like food preservation projects. So some of the household things have just kind of gone to the back burner, but because we have so much snow out there and it's supposed to snow for the next few days, Josh is going to be working from home. The laundry room and his office are currently one, and I know that I wouldn't want to work from home in the state that the laundry room is in. So we're going to tackle that. We've got one last painting project we need to do, and I think there's a couple other things on the list, but that's what we're going to start with. First thing, this apple cake, or apple coffee cake. I'm going to cut this recipe in half because Josh and I don't need a 9 by 13, so we're going to make this coffee cake in a 9 by 9. I'm going to peel 3 apples. We're going to get these grated, actually. You could dice these if you want, but I kind of want them a little bit finer in my coffee cake, so I'm going to grate them. The chickens will enjoy these. I already took care of the chickens this morning. The poor things are not liking this snow. They're not used to it. We don't typically, at our last house, we didn't get very much snow, but we're such high elevation now, we get a lot more snow here. So I'm gonna set our apples aside and we're gonna get going on our wet ingredients in this bowl. I was able to collect some eggs this morning from the girls. So these are 2 eggs that I just collected this morning. So we're gonna start by adding 2 eggs, a half a cup of applesauce. This is apple sauce that we made in 2020 from the apple trees on our last homestead. A half a cup of neutral flavored oil. A half a cup of white sugar, a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, vanilla. We're gonna mix this together. To the top of our wet mixture, we're gonna add the dry ingredients. So 1 cup of all-purpose flour plus a 1/4 cup. Now we're gonna add our spices. You could just use pumpkin spice if you wanted, if you didn't want to go through the effort of getting all of these spices out. But I went ahead and just got them all out. We have cinnamon, ginger, allspice, and one of my favorite ingredients, fresh nutmeg, which is a nut like this, and you just grate it on a microplane, and it is incredible. One teaspoon of baking powder and baking soda, salt, and our grated apple. Oh, I should have mixed the dry ingredients on top before I added the apple, but I didn't, so that's okay. So that was 1 cup of apple, and we need 1.5 cups of apple. So I am gonna grate this last one. I wasn't sure if I was gonna need it or not. And we'll just add the rest of this to our cake. You could certainly add walnuts to this if you wanted. Josh does not like walnuts in his desserts, so I'm gonna leave them out today. And like I said, you could chunk up those apples or you could grate them, just depending on what texture you want. I want to add a streusel topping to this. So in this bowl, I'm going to add 1/2 cup of flour, sorry, a 1/4 cup, a 1/4 cup of oats, a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, a pinch of salt, maybe 2, and a 1/4 cup of butter, which I tried to soften in the microwave, but I over softened it just a little bit. It'll just make it easier to mix all this together. So when you make a streusel topping, it's always equal parts flour, sugar, you can use brown sugar or white sugar, oats, and butter. And then you just mix all that together until you kind of have a crumble It's not super crumbly because that butter was melted. You don't really want it melted when you make a crumble. You kind of want it just soft, but I'll just crumble it by hand with my fingers. This is just gonna add a nice textural element to the top of our coffee cake. So that was so easy to throw together. We've got our coffee cake with our crumble topping popping into the oven. This is probably gonna take 35 or so minutes to cook. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna clean up this kitchen, and I'm gonna get my dishwasher going so that can be running while I am doing other things. I wanna end today and go into this week with a clean house. And one way I wanna do that is by having an empty dishwasher going into Monday. I'm always trying to think of ways to have my appliances work for me. That's why I got my laundry going, I have the oven going, and we're gonna get the dishwasher going. So all of these items or appliances are working for me, and they're working while I'm doing other things. We've been stuck in the house for about a week, and we're going to be stuck in the house for quite some more time. And that's why on this Sunday, I really just wanted to kind of reset my house. My whole entire house needed the reset button. And because Josh is going to be home for probably, yes, the next week, working from home because of the snow, I just wanted it to feel good for him. I wanted it to feel good for me. And I just wanted to love on my home. And that's what today is all about. We're just going to check some small little projects off the list too of things that just have needed to be done. So the first area I started in was I got the laundry going so that could go while I made the coffee cake. And now it's time to focus on getting this kitchen clean. So I do clean the fronts of all the appliances. I did clean inside the microwave, and I tried to start from top down so that, like right here, I'm probably going to drop things on the floor, you know, pieces of apple and some flour and things like that. And so I'm going to try to get all the top surfaces clean. You can see here getting that, melted butter in the microwave, so trying to get that nice and clean. And then I will work my way down. So after I get the counters clean, I want to get my sink clean. I always feel like once my sink is clean, then my kitchen feels a lot cleaner. So I'm going to take a minute to get this really clean. And then once we get all the counters clean, we'll then move to the floors, and we'll get the floors nice and clean. The baby's sitting here hanging out with me as we work on getting this house put back together. I don't know why, but I just love having a clean sink. And we also take the time to clean the stove. I had done some food preservation projects, and it got kind of bad. Made it all the way around the kitchen, getting it all clean from the countertops up, and the floors need attention, but we are going to do that in a little bit. I've decided that I'm going to get all my chores done that are not as fun. I'm going to reward myself by going outside and planting seeds. So now what I need to do you see what this is? This is paint. I thought I was done painting in here, and then I was sitting at my desk right here, and I noticed this section right here, probably hard to see it, was not painted. I looked over and I thought, did I spill coffee or something? Because it's beige as opposed to the gray that we chose. I feel like this is one of those things that I could let sit here and not get to for far too long. You know, it's just kind of like out of sight, out of mind. It's not totally out of sight, out of mind because I sit right here a lot, but I've talked about this before that Josh and I are committed, I don't know if I can open this, and I don't have paint clothes on, so hopefully I don't spill it. Try to tackle those things that you would typically do right before you go to sell your house. So something like this, I could just see it just sitting here for far too long. And then if we were ever to sell, which we don't have any plans to sell, but if you were to sell the house, then you've got all these little things like this that you need to do before it's ready to sell. Josh and I this is our third home, and we've done this twice where right before we go to sell, we've got all these list of little tiny things, and it's like, why didn't we do that while we lived there so we could enjoy the finished product? And so we've kind of made a commitment to ourselves that we're gonna try to tackle those things that we would if we were going to sell for someone else, for ourselves, so we can enjoy it. So I am going to tackle this little painting project today so that it's just one thing that's off the list and I don't have to think about it. Let me see if I can show you kind of where the paint was not painted. So this little spot right here, and then all right here. Somehow I just missed it. So the color that we are repainting the walls is called Gossamer Veil, and I love it. It's a warm gray. It's got green undertones, not blue undertones. So it comes across as a little bit warmer, which is exactly what I wanted. I didn't want this home to be cold feeling. I wanted it to be warm and inviting because we're in the country. But I also wanted it to be super neutral and in the gray family, not in the beige brown family. I thought I was done painting after getting this one section, but about a week later, I looked down and I realized that underneath my desk, there was about 1.5 to 2 foot section that I forgot to paint up underneath my desk. So that's one of the things. Projects never ever end. Even when you think you've accomplished them, there are always little more to do. All right, we got the first coat on here. Now I'm gonna go run downstairs and grab a fan, which is perfect because I need to put a fan in the grow room anyway, so I need to go grab the fan today to put it in the grow room because something exciting has happened out there. But first, we're gonna get a fan on this so it can dry a little bit quicker so I can get a second coat on it. Before I run downstairs, I just wrapped up my paintbrush in some saran wrap so it won't dry out on me until we come back to do the second coat. Hey, bud. That should not take very long to dry. Let's look at this. Oh, that looks like it is almost done. I also wanted the house to smell really good today. Sometimes it's encouraging to me to keep tackling projects if I feel like the house smells really good, and an apple coffee cake is bound to do the trick. Let me show you another thing that we're gonna tackle today, but first I need to get the laundry going because I can rotate that and get that going before we tackle this project. And you can see, you can't see. It is just snowing away out here. There's actually a snow plow going around the road right now. It's kind of like a wet, slushy snow. The plow can plow the main roads, but it can't get up our driveway because it's a private driveway and it's very, very steep. So we have a tractor, but the tractor I think we're pretty sure would get stuck on the hill, so we have not used it. But this room needs a good mopping. There's dirt all over, and I'm gonna use my husband's vacuum mop today for the first time. I'm kind of excited to give it a try, and I wanna get this room clean and all the floors clean because they are super you can tell they have a layer of kind of grime on them, and we are getting some new furniture here. It was supposed to be here last week, but then it snowed. And it was gonna be here tomorrow, but then it snowed. So sometime this coming week. So I want to have the floors cleaned before the furniture comes. This is real life, friends. This is the before shot. We've got a lot we've got to get done in here today. We've got 3 loads of laundry that are clean, that need to be folded. I have a load of laundry in my dryer, 1 in my washer, and my timer just went off to check on my cake. So I go ahead and I test it, and it does not seem done to me. So I am going to go ahead and put it back in the oven and set a timer for 5 more minutes. I am setting a timer because when I get focused on projects like this, I am bound to forget that I have a coffee cake in the oven. So I saw this reel, I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago or so, and it talked about how the rooms in my house have to take turns being clean. And that, if that didn't seem so true for me, I don't know what does. We all have only so much time in our hands, and this last week I was really focusing on food preservation projects. I was focusing on getting the garlic preserved up. We made chicken broth to can, and I know that there was a bunch of other projects that we worked on. I just can't remember off the top of my head, but my focus was not on my home. It was on dealing with things that were going to go bad if I didn't get to them. Or, oh, I know what it was. One of our freezers died, and there were items in the freezer that needed to be preserved up, or they were going to go bad. And here is one of those. Those are laundry detergent sheets. I absolutely love them. My mom gave me those. She buys them on Amazon, and I can link them down below. But I had to not focus on taking care of my home and getting it clean and keeping going. I needed to focus on preserving food because it was going to go bad if I didn't. And so I don't feel bad when sometimes, like right now, my laundry room becomes an absolute disaster, because I know that we all only have so much time in our hands. I don't like it when my laundry room becomes a disaster, but it's just part of life, and today's the day that we're tackling it. So we're getting to it, and our cake is now done. So I'm going to take it out of the oven. It's kind of funny. If I call this a coffee cake, then it's an appropriate breakfast, right? If I call this an apple cake, then it's dessert. But this was absolutely incredible. It was probably, I don't know. I keep saying this. I feel like one of the best things I've made in a long time, but it was absolutely delicious. So going back to taking care of my home, I just, as much as I don't like it to get out of control, it happens. And I just have to keep telling myself that that's okay, because we were taking care of other things that were more important. And now it's time to take care of this laundry room. So because I was really wanting to get this laundry room completely under control, I decided to get tongs out and get all the stuff that inevitably falls behind the washer and dryer. I don't know if you have this problem, but I do. And things just collect back there. So I figured, since I was really wanting to give this laundry room a complete reset, it was time to dig these things out from behind the washer and dryer. And I kind of wondered where some of my towels had gone, and quite a few of them ended up behind the washer and dryer. So I was glad to have my towels back in rotation. So one of the reasons I wanted to get this, here it is. One of the reasons I wanted to get this laundry room completely reset was because Josh was going to be working from home for an entire week, probably due to the snow. And because he's a computer programmer, he has the ability to do that, which is a huge blessing. And so he's sharing this laundry room with his office. You can't see him, but he's actually sitting right now working on building me a new website. So if you're wondering why he's not helping with laundry, it's because he is working on building me a new website. And he does most of his laundry 90% of the time, but today I was going to take care of it. So long term, his office is not going to be in the laundry room, but that's where it is right now. And I really just did not want him to have to focus on his work day, his 9-to-5 job in this messy environment. I know I wouldn't want to have to work in a laundry room that was a complete disaster. So I figured today was the best day to go ahead and tackle this project. So that is what I am getting to today. So we are getting just everything folded up, and now I am one who doesn't mind doing laundry. I don't mind folding it. I don't mind washing it. I don't mind rotating it. I hate putting it away. I don't know why, but that is just one of my least favorite chores. And so on this day, I'm committed to myself that not only are we going to fold it, but we are going to put it away. One of my favorite things to do, though, when it comes to laundry is folding towels, because you can get them folded so quickly and you feel like you got a lot of progress done. So these are all my most of my dish towels. So I'm pulling these out first. Well, I guess we've already kind of been in here for a while, but I know that I kind of want to get these done because it feels like I've accomplished something and I've gotten major progress done, and that is going to give me the motivation to keep going. I like doing that. That's one reason why I wanted to get that coffee cake in the oven and I wanted to get that painting project done first, is because I knew I could get those done really quickly. And they were on my list of things to do so that I could feel like I've done something and it's going to give me the motivation I need to move forward. And if I start with the project that's going to take me the absolute longest, like this laundry, then I might get a little burnt out and not have the motivation to keep going. So that is why I tackled those easy things first. And then when I came into this laundry room, I wanted to tackle something easy like folding towels, because there's something really satisfying about having a whole thing of folded towels there. So this is where we are now. We got all that laundry folded, which is incredible. We still need to run a couple loads through the wash, but right now we've got that done. Now we need to focus on these floors. Now I painted these floors black and I'm really happy with them, but they do show a lot of dirt because they're so dark. I'm kind of thinking maybe I shouldn't have gone with black, even though I think they're absolutely beautiful. And I can already tell that the floor paint that I put on these floors is way, way better than what the type of paint was on before. The type of paint they had on these floors before was just a wall paint. And I know that because the paint can was in the garage when we moved in. And I went with a floor patio paint and it's very, very strong, but this dark color does show. Now with the furniture, we did buy a rug for this room. So probably about 85% of this room is going to be covered in a rug. So it's probably okay that I painted them black. And if I need to repaint them a different color, I can. I'm super happy though with the color that I picked. Just aesthetically, it looks really nice. Now this is my husband's robot mop vacuum thing. And he's the one who does our floors 90% of the time. My husband loves to clean floors and he's just really busy on this day and he's working on building me a website. So I wanted to just go ahead and tackle these floors. And I had never used his robot mop before, and it was really fun. I normally just use like this cheapo mop that I'm really happy with, but he likes his fancy toys, and so I got to use it today, and it was really fun. You could see how much dirt was on there. Part of the problem why these floors get just so dirty is because right now we have no lawn. Now there's snow out there right now, but when there's not snow out there, it's just dirt and mud. And so they get really, really bad when my dogs come in and out of, doing their thing outside. And so I get the pleasure and Josh gets the pleasure of cleaning these floors very, very regularly. But I normally just use my cheap mop. And he likes this really fancy one. I can link it down below if you're interested in it. I can link this one and my cheap mop that I really like. But, if it's going to encourage him to clean the floors, then I am all for him having, here's the after shot. I am all for him having the fancy toy to clean up the floors. And I thought it would be fun to try it out today. So that's what I'm doing. And I really enjoyed it. It did make it's a vacuum mop. Now you're not supposed to have, tons and tons of stuff on the floor with this vacuum mop. It just doesn't have that big of a vacuum container thing. But for how the floors were, they were mostly just kind of actually muddy from my dogs, that this thing was really incredible. And it does have a pretty good charge. I was able to do my entire main floor with one charge. I did have to empty the water. There's a container that has water in it that shoots the water out and then it suctions up the extra water. And I did have to empty that once and refill it because some of those areas that were super, super muddy that you saw where there was actual like mud on the floor, that kind of took up I went through a lot of water on that. It's kind of hard to see, but if you look out that window, it's all white and that is all snow coming down. So the furniture was supposed to be delivered a couple days after I did this deep clean, but it was probably about a week and a half or almost 2 weeks after
I did this deep clean that the furniture arrived, and which is fine. It didn't matter necessarily to me one way or the other, but you can just see it is a winter wonderland out here.
I really wanted to get all the vacuuming and sweeping done while I was waiting for this laundry to go through a cycle so that I could switch it and get another one going. We are making some serious, fantastic progress today. I did go ahead and paint a second coat of paint on the wall. So that is done, that project is done. And I did sit down and have a piece of that coffee cake with some coffee, just kind of like recharge a little bit before we kind of finish out all these projects we have started. We still have a lot of laundry to do. Well, that's not true. I guess we just have to rotate the laundry once and then get this load in. I did go ahead and I swept and mopped our bedroom and our master bathroom as well. So the whole entire main floor, all the spaces we live in are clean. It's gonna feel so good to go into this week with a clean house. Oh, I do want to still vacuum the couches because those are a little bit dusty and definitely need to be vacuumed. Our dishwasher is almost done too, so all of the things that I'm wanting to accomplish, we are getting to today, which is great. It feels good to be able to start the last load of laundry in just a second here that we're gonna need to wash today. I rarely have the opportunity to do this on a weekend where I can just take Sunday to get the house kind of reset for the week. Tomorrow I need to do computer work all day, and I'm just really grateful that I have the opportunity right now to get my house clean so that I can just kind of enjoy sitting and relaxing. It's going to be snowy tomorrow too. I think it's supposed to snow. Is Josh supposed to snow tomorrow too?
I think so.
Yeah, so it'll be nice to be able to sit and enjoy the snow and just feel better about my house. It's always better. I always feel better about my house when it's clean. Doesn't always happen, but when it does, it's a treat. Okay, last load of laundry going in. And those are towels, which is great. I love folding towels because they fold up really quickly. I am going to put the laundry away that I already have out, or I've already folded. And then I'm going to vacuum the couch, and then we get to go play in the seed room.
Because of all this snow that we're getting, the landscape project and the garden project end up being delayed by about 3 weeks. So the snow just kept coming. I think it snowed for a total of 5 or 6 days. And then Josh does end up digging us out. He uses our tractor and he digs us out. And that took him probably 16 hours, no joke, total to dig us out. But what happened was we could get in and out, like our cars could get in and out, but the landscape big pickups, they couldn't get it up the hill for quite some time. So the overall landscape project is at this point about 3 weeks behind. Today is the first sunny day. When they were able to come back, it poured down rain and they were just moving mud around, and it was kind of dangerous and slippery. And so yesterday was the first day they were able to come back, and they ended up only working for about a half day because they weren't able to get anything done because the mud was just so bad. So today it's beautiful out there. It's about 55 degrees and sunny, and there is so much progress happened in just the last day. They have a few extra guys out to help kind of jumpstart the project again and help catch us up because we are 3 weeks behind. And it's all going to work out in the end, because even if they're still working on landscaping, we are going to go ahead and fill the boxes as soon as we can. As soon as we can fill the box, ooh, look how bad that is. As soon as we can fill the raised beds, we're going to do that. Today, I actually spent some time calling around different compost suppliers, bulk compost suppliers, and tomorrow I'm going to drive around and pick up some samples from some different suppliers around town, and I'm going to do some testing with some seeds. I have heard some horror stories about compost being contaminated, and I would be devastated if I filled my raised beds with compost that was contaminated with herbicides. And so I called around, and the companies that I'm actually going to be buying some sample compost from them to do some seed testing to make sure that the seeds germinate and do okay, they all do third-party independent testing themselves once a month, which is huge. That means that they really, really care about the compost they're making. But just as an insurance policy, I want to make sure that I do what I can do in order to try to ensure that hopefully the compost we are going to be putting in these raised beds are not contaminated with herbicides. Now, the ratio, I think, of what we're going to be putting in the beds is going to be about 50% soil, like a topsoil, 40% compost, and 10% sand. That's what I put in the last raised beds, and that worked out really well. And so I think that's what we're probably going to end up doing moving forward in the raised beds. Now, this is just going through, and now I'm vacuuming. I'm using my husband's fancy vacuum for this. This is something I usually don't touch, is his fancy vacuum. And I'm getting all of the couches that we have vacuumed because our dogs do sit on our furniture, and we do get kind of dirt and grime on the couches because of that.
As I endearingly say, I now have the house completely clean just in time for it to get messy again. Feels really, really good in here. Let me show you the laundry room slash Josh's office. Look how much better it looks. Now we do have one load in there and one load in there, but everything in this laundry room so far that's been washed and folded is put away, which I have to say is quite an accomplishment. I do not really mind folding laundry. I despise putting it away, and I put it away today, which is a huge accomplishment. We got the kitchen clean, all the floors clean, the couches vacuumed, the dishwasher is done, but I like to let it cool before I unload it, so I'm not going to worry about that now. What I'm going to do right now is pour myself a cup of tea, and I'm going to give you an update on what is going on in the grow room. Plus, we need to plant a few things today. I was planning to plant a ton of things, but I think there's just 3 things that I'm going to plant, and we'll go through it and figure it all out when we get out there. But the first thing I'm going to do is pour myself a cup of raspberry leaf tea because I cannot get enough of this stuff. Oh, feels so incredible to have the house clean. I know I don't always get to it, but when I do, it's amazing how much it can affect my mood, and it can make me feel better just about life in general. It seems silly, but if my house is clean and decluttered and organized, life just seems a little less stressful. I don't know why. So it doesn't always happen though, but it happened today, which is awesome. I always put 2 tea bags in my tea. Oh my goodness. Let me clean that up. I guess we're cleaning the counters extra good with some hot water today as well. I didn't put the lid on this paint and it almost just fell out of my hands. That would have been a disaster. That is now on there. So we need this fan for seedlings. I have some really exciting things that are happening in here, and I cannot wait to show you. Let's get this plugged in and I'll show you right now. So I need to get some air movement in here because we have seedlings that have sprouted, and if you don't have any air movement, the plants can be weak, because if they were to sprout outside there would be a lot of wind, and that movement of the plant helps strengthen them. So you want to mimic that, what they would have outside, by putting a fan on them. I think for now I'm just going to put it like this because I only have 2 trays that have sprouted. Yesterday was the first day we had sprouts, and it was this cauliflower that sprouted first, and it was just barely out of the ground, and now you can see it's probably a 1/2 inch tall, which is pretty exciting. So we have our golden acre cabbage that has sprouted, our cauliflower, and our other cauliflower. These are the two that I think both, well, I can't remember now, but I do have the names written on them, which is a plus for me. These were planted on the 22nd and today is the 26th. So it only took 4 days for the cauliflower to sprout, and it took only 6 days or 5 days for the cabbage to sprout. This is our other tray that has some sprouts on it, and this red cabbage sprouted, and that's the only thing on this tray that has sprouted. None of the asparagus has sprouted. But I do want to water these because the ones that haven't sprouted, you know what I should do? I took the plastic off this because these had sprouted, but I can still put the plastic on all of these asparagus plants, so that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna water it in really good, and then this is all celery here. Those haven't sprouted either. I'm gonna put my plastic wrap back over those. I don't know why I didn't think about that until just now, but that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get these watered, and then I have 2 more trays that I planted out that I did by myself the other day, so I want to show you what those are. Celery typically takes about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks to sprout or germinate, so that's why I'm going to go ahead and get the plastic wrap back on it. And I'll just go ahead and water our cabbages. I saved the plastic wrap because I was just going to put it on a new tray that I started seeds on, but I'll just put it back on this tray. I tried to only seed 1 seed per cell, and some of them, you can see, here's 2. I will unfortunately have to thin those. It hurts my heart so much to thin, but here I have like, I don't know, there's like 4 different plants growing there, so I need to thin those, but I'm not going to do those today. I'm going to give them a couple more days, and then I'll pick the strongest plant and I'll thin the weaker plant. It always feels ruthless to me to decapitate my seedlings, but it's for their own good. Back under the light. That works perfect. These are the 2 trays I planted out just the other day. I don't have anything planted in these 2 cells, so we're gonna fill these up today. But what I have in these trays are flat leaf and curly parsley. These are the only ones I have started from seed before. The rest of these are all new. I've grown them, but I've always bought them as starts. We have sweet marjoram, summer savory, caraway. I've actually never even grown this before, so this is new to me. Italian oregano, sage, lavender, and thyme. Now this lavender is not going to flower until next year. Where I live, lavender is a perennial. So I'm starting it this year knowing that it's not going to flower until next year. Another thing that I'm going to grow this year is coneflower or echinacea. Those don't flower the first year either, so I'm going to start a bunch of that, plant it. It's a perennial in my area as well, and then it'll flower the next year. When I purchased lavender last year for my last year's garden, I planted it in the ground and I didn't dig it up. I spent about $10 a plant, and I started 25 cells, so 25 plants, hopefully at least, worth of lavender here. So that's a good bang for my buck because I spent $2 on this seed packet, and there are approximately 300 seeds in here. So once you have your lights and all your growing equipment, it can be a lot more affordable to start things from seed. Oh, I also started thyme. I think I forgot to say that as well. So that is the herbs. I'm gonna put these packets away. I forgot to start cumin. I've never grown cumin before, so I wanna try to grow that as well. So we need to get that in the ground. And then the other thing that I'm gonna start today is broccoli. I didn't grow broccoli last year in my garden, and I'm gonna have a lot more space this year to grow. I didn't grow broccoli in my garden last year because it did terribly. And so I want to try to grow it this year. And the only broccoli seeds I have are from Dollar Tree. They were 25 cents. So we are gonna plant these today. I'm just gonna use this tray that I've already filled with soil. Oh my gosh, my summer savory has sprouted and it's already kind of leggy. So that's not great. Those are a little bit long and they're not super strong looking. So I'm gonna get these under the light ASAP, but I'm gonna fill these 2 trays first. So I don't know when those sprouted. I did not notice that yesterday. I'm a little disappointed about that. Or it could be they're a little leggy because they were on the heat mat. So leggy, what that means, let me backtrack a little bit if you're not sure. Leggy is when a seedling looks tall and skinny and spindly. Typically, when you see a seedling emerge from the ground, you want it like this one right here, where the leaves are just above the soil, versus these ones, they're really tall and skinny, and there's not very much pigment in the stem. These are really good examples of healthy looking seedlings. You can see that the leaves are right above the soil. This is the cauliflower and cabbage. And they're not stretching away. They're not getting really tall and skinny and spindly. Seedlings will get leggy for two reasons. One, they'll get leggy if they're reaching and stretching for sunlight. So if I tried to grow these seedlings without grow lights like I did my first year, with not enough natural sunlight, what happens is the seedlings are reaching and reaching and reaching for sunlight, and it makes them very, very weak. And that's why I killed so many of my seedlings the first year I grew a garden, because I didn't have grow lights and they were really weak plants. So by the time I put them outside, a lot of them didn't even make it outside, but the ones that did make it outside, they weren't strong enough to withstand the natural elements of being outside. So I just planted 2, 4, 6, 8 broccoli seeds in these 8 different cells. And the other reason why seedlings might get leggy is if they're on a heat mat and they're trying to get away from the heat. And that's why I think these ones are leggy, is because those were on the heat mat. So I'm kind of disappointed about that. I could plant some more. I'll see how they go or how they do. But I'm gonna check all the rest of my other trays right now. But all those 2 trays are peppers, and I doubt anything has sprouted on those. Peppers usually take about 2 weeks. Just gonna water everything, and then I am gonna top these broccoli seeds with a little bit of vermiculite. And I'm disappointed about that. Maybe there will be a couple other seeds that will sprout, and I can thin those ones, I guess. Okay, let me write what this is because I will forget. That is Dollar Tree broccoli. And today is the 26th. Okay. Under the grow light. This tray was planted out the same day that sweet marjoram was planted out. This has the lavender, sage, thyme, parsley, and parsley. And I don't see anything germinating on there. These are our sweet peppers. Nothing has germinated there. And these are our hot peppers. And I see, oh! What? This is a King of the North seed right here, and there is a root coming out of the seed right there going down. There's nothing coming out of the seed up yet, no green or anything, so I'm going to keep this on the heat mat. But this is the King of the North bell pepper, which is pretty crazy. And I don't see any other signs of life yet on this tray. That is really encouraging to see that. Heat mats make a huge difference when it comes to peppers. They will germinate a lot faster. I have gotten peppers to germinate without a heat mat, but it can take 2 or 3 times as long for them to germinate that way. I'm gonna fill up another tray and I'm gonna get these cumin seeds planted, and that is all I'm gonna do in here today. I'm just so excited that we have green in this grow room, even though it is a whiteout out there. I can't even see down to my neighbor's property because it is completely, we are in a cloud, I think, right now, which is kind of fun. But it's kind of cool that while we're in a cloud and in a whiteout, there is green starting to emerge, and even a little purple because my red cabbage has sprouted and that is purple. It was a very productive day. We got so many things accomplished. I'm really excited to kind of give my house a reset before going into this week. And Josh is going to be home probably all week. I'm going to be stuck at home most of the week, and it'll just feel good that I was able to kind of bless my home and have a really peaceful environment for Josh and I to start this new week. It's just going to be a good way to start the week, especially because we're going to be in the home all week. So thank you for being here as we got a ton of stuff done and you got an update on these seedlings. I hope if you have started some seeds where you are that you're starting to see some signs of life, because that is super fun and exciting. Thank you for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. I greatly appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video and you are new around here, please consider subscribing. I'd love to have you along because we are going to see, hopefully, these seeds grow and be able to transplant them out into the garden, be able to harvest them, preserve them, and cook with them. And I'm really just looking forward to what the season has in store for us. And I just hope and I welcome you to join along in the journey because it is kind of fun to be in this together. And if you enjoyed this video, I can also pop a couple of my other videos here you can go enjoy between now and my next upload. I want to say thank you again for taking time out of your day to spend time with me. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for being you, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye, friend.